playing Notre Dame as a repeat opponent?
Well, the first thing is they've changed a good bit. I think Coach Shrewsbury's done a great job of adjusting to his personnel. They're much taller. They're playing a very big starting lineup. And by doing that, it creates a problem for us because we're very small. So we're going to have to make some adjustment ourselves.
Thanks, Jim.
Luke Cheney, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to ask about Keyshawn George and just what went into the decision to start him on Saturday, and do you envision him taking on a starting role throughout this season?
Well, every decision we make is on a day-to-day basis. You know, we're not a very big team, so we just decided to try to get a little bigger, and then to put Bensley Joseph back into that sixth-man position, which he did so successfully in his freshman and sophomore year. So we got a little taller in our starting lineup, and we got a little more experience coming in off our bench, which has been an issue. We ended up, again, we weren't planning on Norshad not playing, so we ended up starting two freshmen for the first time. So we're constantly, having to adapt to the circumstances that we're dealing with. So, for example, I just met with my staff. We've had 19 practices since mid-December, and we've not had a practice where we've had our starting five. So that makes it really challenging to prepare. Now, someone's always out. First it was Nigel. He missed 11 days. Then it was Wooga. He missed 6 days. Now it's Norshad. He missed the other day and the game as well. So it's not just missing practices, it's missing some games, which has really affected our on-the-court chemistry. We've always relied very heavily on being able to play well together. But when you miss practices, you're a little bit out of sync. And in addition to that, when you miss many practices, you're not in great shape. So we're hoping today that we have our whole team to practice, but we won't know until this afternoon.
Michelle Kaufman, go ahead.
Hey, Jim, speaking of injuries, piggybacking on that, Nordstad, what is his status? Is it the same ankle that it was before? Is it something different? And do you anticipate him being able to play on Wednesday?
Okay, so it's the same ankle. I'm hoping we'll have him for practice today and tomorrow, and that he'll play Wednesday. But you can't predict that. You can't. A guy gets out on the practice court and doesn't feel right. Wooga Poplar, he dressed and wanted to practice full, and after about 10 minutes, he went out. So you can't count that as a practice where he actually practiced and prepared for the game. There's no definitive answer for those questions. Norshad's a warrior. I've told you that. He's going to do everything he can to practice and play. But we won't know that until practice this afternoon, practice tomorrow, and the game on Wednesday.
All right, could I just ask one follow-up? If he can't or could play limited only, can you talk about Michael and how do you think he did in the role that he played? And especially having just said that Notre Dame is playing a bigger lineup, how do you compensate for that with a lineup that's already small if Norchad can't be 100%?
Well, I thought Michael did a great job at Syracuse. He defended, he rebounded pretty well, but you can't ask a freshman with limited playing experience to replace your best player, your leading scorer, your leading rebounder, a guy who's, scored over 1,500 career points. It's just not reasonable. So it really needs to be a team effort. We need everybody to play well. And if someone has a subpar game, we're not going to be nearly as good.
Go next to Adam Lichtenstein. Go ahead.
Hey, Jim. I was looking at KenPom earlier, and I saw you guys are ranked like 190th in the country in their luck, quote-unquote, metric. And I think a little bit lower than like your expected winning percentage and stuff. Do you think your team is kind of just caught some bad breaks and bad bounces a little bit this year, and maybe playing below what you'd consider their actual talent level or where you guys should be?
Well, where we'd like to be is healthy. I said before the season, and I say before every season, I think we can be really good if we stay healthy. But staying healthy means you got to practice and prepare for the opponent properly, and then you got to execute your game plan. The other day, our game plan did not include Wooga Poplar getting in foul trouble and Keyshawn George getting in foul trouble in the first 5 minutes of the Syracuse game, and not having Norstad in the lineup at all. You can't play as well as you're capable of playing unless you're at full strength. We're very, very capable of being every bit as good as the preseason prognosticators said we would be if we were healthy. But if you're not healthy, if you got a sprained ankle, you can't run as fast, you can't move laterally as quick, you can't jump as high. When's the last time you saw Wooga Poplar dunk the ball? I mean, it's just, you got to be, as a coach, patient with your players to understand what they're going through. Our players are going through some difficult times because they want to play great and are not physically capable of doing it at this moment.
Isabel Charles, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, just wanted to ask you, how the players are responding to this, adversity with the health and kind of, having an up and down January, and just what do you want to see from them moving forward?
Well, first thing, I'd like us to get healthy. I'd like us to be able to practice and prepare for the opponent. I'd like our mental and emotional ability to be at its best, and it's not right now. It's not, because physically we're not capable. So if we can get everybody healthy and we can practice and prepare, I think we'll be very, very good. But right now, we just don't know from day to day.
We'll squeeze one more in from Marcus Benjamin. Go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Wanted to ask about Wooga Poplar. He seemed a bit out of sorts in the last game. Just wondering if that ankle is still bothering him, and just if you could just talk about how important his contributions need to be for this team.
Well, perfect example is Wooga was our leading scorer for the first, 10 or 12 games. And since Christmas time, he's had to deal, in the first game after Christmas, he sprained the ankle. And he just hasn't been 100%, not even to this day. He is working that ankle and treating it, but he's just not himself yet. And I said he hasn't dunked the ball in practice or in a game, because he can't elevate off of that left ankle. And that's the one he jumps off of when he elevates off of 1 foot. So, he is frustrated a little bit by the ankle, and then by getting a couple of early fouls and having to sit out.
Coach L, thank you for the time. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week.